Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Simon.
Merry Christmas. Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Yes, I'm back from my Christmas sojourn to North Devon.
Awesome.
90 miles away. It's not that far. Not that
Yeah, it's
far for
always
me.
good. Always
I'm
good
the
to spend
closest
time
to
with
it, my
family and
family.
friends, isn't it?
Oh, we had 21 of us for Christmas.
Yeah,
Everybody was there. Everybody came for at least not all. They don't come for the whole week, but because people got to work and people,
yeah.
especially the younger ones got work stuff. But for Christmas dinner, 21, and I
Awesome.
cooked the turkey to perfection.
Do you use a thermostat or a temperature control, or is it just by
No,
mumbo jumbo?
yeah, kitchen magic. No, you get a fork and you stick it in, and when
Yeah,
the
yeah,
when the liquids run clear, we're good.
yeah,
And do you know what? It bloody works. See, you'd be amazed at the old-fashioned methods that still work. You don't do the, you don't see temperature and stuff like that. But don't you? I don't know if you do this. I don't know if you get anywhere near the cooking for, but I makes me laugh that
Hey,
it's a
Arvin.
constant evolution in a hilarious way. We're always doing something. I've always got some. Somebody's got some. My mum and I do the cooking on Christmas night. That's just how it is. I've no idea why, but the brilliant bit was that there's always an evolution. There's always something different that we do this year that we didn't do last year. Like, and hi Arvin, how you doing? Hope you're good. Happy Christmas. Between Christmas and New Year, what is that period called? Don't know, it
Well,
should
I'm
have
a
a name,
Catholic.
shouldn't it?
I'm a Catholic, so it's Christmas, Merry Christmas, all the way up to the Epiphany.
And
So
then
so it goes for another 6 to 8 weeks. So you can still say Merry Christmas and milk it.
really good, tremendous. Sadly, I'm not. So for me, it's a lot of Happy New Year. I like Happy New Year when you
Yeah,
go back to work. You get that well into mid-January. Yes, people you haven't spoken to, never a
yeah,
bad
yeah, yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
because it's a
yeah.
holiday here from basically the 20th, and some people will take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. So sometimes you're saying Happy New Year to people in February.
Which is, I can see that as merit.
Um, so anyway, so we've got the Christmas greetings all over with. We're not going to have Carl on the show, which is bit of a bummer.
What's he doing today? Nobody knows. The Phantom.
Yeah. Oh well, if he's watching, I'm just having no. There's only one person watching, so that's Arvin. So, but yeah, well, he's got a few things on, so it would have been nice to end the show with our friend, who offers a little bit of his unique insight into a lot of things. But having said that, though, Simon, I appreciate the fact that he has jumped on and joined us on a few shows, and it's always good to have a full complement of guys. I certainly look forward to the idea, Simon, of you and I maybe doing something with Arvin, maybe later on. Dave, certainly. I'd like to get Dave onto the
Yeah,
show. There's a
it'd be
lot of
good to
things
get
that,
some of the crew on, wouldn't it? I agree,
yeah,
Arvin. We should.
yeah,
All we know about Arvin Gaunt is his name's not Arvin Gaunt. See,
yeah, yeah.
who is the
But
man behind the? Yes,
I demand
I
power.
agree.
But
I agree with that completely. That yeah, to have some of the guys on who come would be really fun. Actually,
yeah,
would be actually really fun. Yeah.
so I'd like, certainly Dave at this stage, because there's a shitload of stuff that he's done over the last 12 months that has specific relevance to our show. Going to Abbey Road, Simon.
Indeed. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
y- you
That was
know,
really cool. Yeah.
um, a bit of gear, and certainly being a young guy, 32 years old, and just infatuated by the early Stones intrigues me. intrigues the shit out of me. I've only spoken to him once face to face. We had a mass Facebook Messenger conversation for about an hour, and it intrigues me that these young guys are so enthralled. But having said that, know a shitload about the subject.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, completely, and be up. No, yes, it is. I mean, in some ways, it's I can see how it's because they're still touring, because they're still moving about. I can see that being. You still see them on tour, and maybe you hear some things that pique your curiosity.
Yeah,
and so I can see that that I think probably more difficult with bands who are no more, like the Beatles, who've not been around for 50 years. Whisper it.
Sure.
that gap in time, inevitably, leads to them, not being in younger people's memory. I mean, it's not. We've said this before. It's not played on the radio. It's not. You don't. I mean, I'm not in this country unless you're tuning into, I don't know,
Classic
Planet
hits.
Rock, which is Planet. I mean, even classic hits for us here is not really that. It's not. They don't go back that far. It's an interesting kind of. The classic thing is a moving, the timeline. Classic is a moving thing behind the current day today.
Yeah.
And currently it's kind of the 80s is kind of the big thing. So people who were in their teenage years in the 80s, from 8 to 90, that's, people who are 10 years younger than me. So people who are 50, that's what the oldie stations here are catering for.
Yeah.
And it'll move into the 90s kind of thing, as those people get older. So that audience, it kind of will change. That's interesting that's what's happened. Maybe 10 years ago it was the 70s, and there's the old show still that does.
So Arvin's mentioning Richard. So
Fox,
we wanted to do a couple of shows with Richard too, Arvin. So we appreciate that, because I've spoken to him a few times and he wants to jump on. We've done 2 shows, one with the full panel, but the next one we do, we'll make sure that it fits in, and we'll get Simon on, because there's a couple of things obviously still that Richard wants to talk to us about. If the Stones tour in 2020, and apparently they are, I'll be off to watch them, because I think, Simon, that'll be the last time the Stones will probably tour. It's interesting listening to Richard, because he's got some theories. He reckons that the Stones want to tour. How old's Mick? He's
76, isn't he? 76.
70. So he thinks the Stones will go until Mick turns 80. So that's another 4 years.
No, he's 76, as is Keith Richards. He's 76 too.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But if they come to New Zealand next year, I'll definitely be into. One of the shows we hope to do, Simon, is live from the Voodoo Lounge. We have an invitation. Yeah. We've got an invitation to go to Auckland, so I'd like to jack that up. That's something that we can probably do. If the Stones come to New Zealand next year.
How far is Auckland from you, Andrew?
Oh, hour and a half.
Fine. Yeah, no worries.
No, yeah. It's a piece of piss, mate. It's just up the motorway. So we'd like to do something, certainly from the Voodoo Lounge. That'll be nice. But there's a couple of things, mate, that I'd like to share with you. I haven't made much of a list, because I've been busy doing other things. But there's a couple of things, highlights for this year for me. I'm going to rattle them off. and then maybe we can talk about them, or they might meet something on your list. The first thing on my list is the Gibson scenario with Mark. That's certainly a highlight for the year for me, because the more I think
Mark
about it,
Ignacy, yeah.
the more I think about it, the more I'm sure that wasn't a cock up. I'm sure that was planned. I'm sure it was
Do you think so?
certainly a
Do you think they cooked up some you mean a controversiette, a very small
yes,
controversy to kick a few news items going? That'd be interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I've no
yeah.
idea. I've never worked in PR, so I don't know to the lengths of which people will go to. Do you
I've
think
got
so?
no evidence. I've got no evidence.
I was going to say, well, come on, where is your evidence, sir? That this is.
I've got, and I'm sorry, guys at Gibson, but I think it's worked well. It worked so well, Simon, that
that you've
that I went out and bought a
Gibson Les Paul.
a 2019 Les Paul. So your plan of dominating the guitar.
Yes, yeah, yes.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure, but that's certainly a highlight. Simon, if it was a cock up, what a big cock up it was, though, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we did a show on that, didn't we? Or it was half a show.
Well, we probably talked about it a bit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interestingly, Fender is still number one. Fender are the number one guitar making. Currently,
and they will be for a long time, because they do everything, Simon. They do basses, they do guitars, they do amplifiers,
yeah.
they do
Do they do amps?
Unfortunately, Gibson. Well, I'm not going to say unfortunately. Gibson don't have that full complement of gear that Fender have.
No, indeed not. Well, actually, they do, because in the past they've made amps. In the past, there are Gibson amps. There are Gibson basses. Certainly, I mean, they're older SG shaped basses, weren't there? I certainly remember those. And they have. It's interesting, isn't it? You compare them. They have other light. I mean, they're a bit different to Fender, and it is not. Well, I was going to say, but Epiphone are a different thing, aren't they? Just going to I know. Yeah, and I think that in a sense, Gibson do have what. So I'm just turning my phone around. But do have across the range, they're just a bit more split up, because I mean, Fender is just Fender, isn't it? Almost, if you buy Fender Squire, is the cheaper end of the market, but they're really good guitars. I mean, I've seen lots of people. Rabea Masada is always going on about the classic Vibe, which is a £350 guitar. But it's still a Fender. Classic Vibe stuff. Sure. They have kind of subgenres, but it's still always across the board Fender. Whereas Gibson has Gibson, and they do more higher end. But then they have Epiphone, and then I understand why they're different companies, because Epiphone was going before Gibson. But it's weird that they haven't amalgamated Epiphone into Gibson a bit more, don't you think?
And then they have, and don't quote me on this, but like
he said in a live
Jackson?
show.
Do they have Jackson and Kramer?
Oh, of course, Fender have Charvel, don't they? Jackson and Charvel. Yeah, Fender have Charvel. Yes, that's right. Gibson have
Kramer.
It's not Kramer. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kramer. Yeah. So, yes, and Fender, of course, have all the EVH stuff and things, don't they, as well? That's Fender. That belongs to Fender. But in a sense, it's all in the Fender. I know the EVH is a separate thing, but it's all in the Fender thing. And if you're buying a £300, £200 Fender or a $2,000 Fender, it's still a Fender, isn't it?
Sure.
They delineate them by where they're made, which I think is So a £800 Fender is going to be made in Mexico. £300 Fender is going to be made in the Far East, and a £1,500 Fender is going to be made in the US. And it kind of, that you instantly by the price, don't you? Even I, who don't know this thing, if you look at it something second hand, you can go, that's £500. That'd be a Mexican one, and you can peg it straight away.
Well, look,
those Mexican guitars are great.
I'm not a guitar snob, and I'm proud to say that. But I do appreciate the differences in guitars. So I just want to show you something quickly, Simon.
Oh, we're going to be jealous.
So this is a
little bass guitar.
This is a bass guitar. This is a vintage bass guitar, vintage brand. It's owned by an English guy, and I've got a vintage Les Paul. But anyway, this vintage guitar is $500 New Zealand dollars.
New Zealand dollars, yeah.
Plays better, sounds better than the made in Mexico Fender jazz bass that I had. That was 3 times the price.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. Arthur, the answer to your question, Fender has a business agreement with Gretsch. So they have control over marketing, production, and distribution, whilst the Gretsch family retain ownership of the company.
Yeah, and I had a Gretsch I brought a Gretsch and had it for a week.
And it was awful.
Oh, look, I wanted to like it. It was one of those orange ones that Chet Atkins played. It wasn't the top of the line ones,
Country Gentleman, or whatever it's called.
It was a made in Korea or something like that. But it wasn't me. Not nice guitar though, nice guitar. But I've got a rule though, Simon. I'm not a collector. I'm a player.
No, I agree with that. Me too. I'm not a collector. I'm a player. All my guitars get played.
Yep.
I wouldn't buy a guitar as an investment.
No.
Except by osmosis. And I wouldn't buy a guitar that I wasn't prepared to take out.
On the road.
I was talking with my nephew about guitars, and we're talking about this, and I've come to the realization that that if I can take it out to a bar and play it, I don't really want it. I don't think that it that actually is for me at all. I either want to take them out, and all right. If I'm too nervous to take it out, it's going. Because I'm not a fan of that at all, really. So I agree with you. But it's interesting that vintage basses. What interests me about guitars quite a lot, and is that you don't have to buy, if you don't buy a Fender or a Gibson, you can buy other makes, lots of other makes who make the similar shape, similar things. You know what? They're fine guitars. They make a fine noise.
They're bloody good. They are playable. And if you want, mate, you can upgrade them, which is pretty good.
That's a real
easy.
Joy.
Yeah. I've said it to you many times. If I was a young guy today, back in the day, with the gear and the price points that we have now,
and the knowledge that you can get. I mean, I'd never heard of intonation till about 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had guitars for 30 years. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right that, that guitar companies, Fender and Gibson, have upped their game, and Fender particularly, I think, have all points on the, on the budget spectrum covered. So if you want to buy a £300 guitar, there's a good Fender in, a Fender Classic Vibe is a great guitar in that price range. If you want to buy a £600 one, you can go and play, find your Mexican thing,
awesome.
Absolutely. If you want to go to more than £1,000, you can go and get your Guitar Hack's arrived. Good morning, Guitar Hack. How you doing? Are you back from a gig, Guitar Hacker, or are you just? Yes, it is Happy New Year nearly.
Oh,
See if he's back
Simon,
from a
can
gig.
I just want to interrupt you then because I'm glad Hack's here because one of the highlights for me this year is Hack's channel getting 1,000
Reaching 1,000,
subs.
yeah, which is really
Um,
cool. Yeah,
and Ben's channel too,
yeah,
getting to 1,000. You know, I remember subbing on Ben's channel when he had 300. You know, and look, I appreciate the hard work and the content that both of these guys put into their channels. You know, they try to keep it different. They try to keep it topical. Simon, you and I, we're pretty easy. We just get on here and just have a chat, you know?
I know, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they plan and organise and do things and
yeah,
go to
yeah,
Guitar
yeah,
Centre and play stuff. Yeah, which is always fun. And Ben particularly, I like Ben's little playing vignettes.
yeah,
They are a
yep,
bit different. They're a bit quirky and a bit kind of
yep,
not everyone's
yep.
taste. And he's like, oh, you don't, I've seen, oh, you don't play very well, do you? It's like, yeah, but
Okay.
what you don't understand is quite a lot of his audience are at the same level as him.
That,
Stop
that's right.
panicking about
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
actually him just having a whiz through. I find them fun and I find them useful. You just get an idea about what something sounds like.
And in a, you
I'm all
know,
for it. He's
in a
not
21st,
Anderton's, and why would he be?
well, in a 21st century kind of way, you know, they're friends of ours too. You know, he's a mate of mine.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well, I've been on
Hack is a
both
mate
their
of mine.
shows,
Yeah,
which is very
yeah.
kind
You
of them to
know,
invite me. It's very nice.
I enjoy watching their shows, and if I can't watch them live, I'll certainly give them a good watching later on. So, Hack,
Yeah,
if you're still here in the chat, congratulations, brother.
yeah, he is.
I know that you've got plans for your channel, and I can't wait for us to be saying congratulations when you reach 10,000.
Yeah. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? If we're still here. So, I mean, Hack saying thanks, Andrew. I'll have a year summary premiere show on tomorrow, noon EST.
I see that.
Yeah. Oh, that's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, I'll catch it live. Might be awake.
I subbed to it. I got that notification, bro. So yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, all the best, and it's always good having a chat with guys like yourselves who are guitar players. And again, if it wasn't for Hack's involvement and advice to Simon, I wouldn't have got the Les Paul that I got. It was through having a chat with him.
You've consulted. Well done.
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
But also the great thing about Hack is he's a player. He goes out and gigs, and I think that's a really, that's valuable in itself. Your gigging experience, things that have happened to you, amps falling over, he had one of his strings wouldn't be in tune, and all those. To me, that kind of minutiae is the most interesting bit, because that's where we learn, and he shares the experience, and we learn. Just to take another guitar with you just in case and stuff. All of those things that I think are really cool.
And he gave me some good advice. He backed up my.
He knows what he's talking about. Absolutely, on the Gibson Les Paul front.
When I asked him about getting a Epiphone Les Paul, he said, "Don't."
Did he? He said, "Don't." Did he? Well, like that. No, you're not doing it.
Well, save some money, or pull the trigger and do it properly. And
yes, that's fair enough, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, I've not played an Epiphone for years. So.
I've got a couple. I've got an Epiphone Casino and I've got an Epiphone ES355. But I agree with them. If I was going to get a Les Paul, it had to be, because I'm a Clapton nut. That blues breaker. Yeah.
Mm. So, my question is, how many did you play? Before you picked out the one you bought. So how many did you play?
I played the standard. which had the 60s neck. I played one that had all the pull push.
Which is a thinner neck, yeah. 60s neck is a thinner neck, yeah. Yep.
And I played one that had coil taps so that you can get the Peter Green sound.
Oh, the modern thing, yeah.
And in the end, I took the traditional Simon. I kept it simple, traditional with the big, fat, thick neck.
Oh, right, okay, the 50s neck, yeah.
50s neck, which apparently on the 2019 model, and it's bloody thick. Trust me, it apparently is nowhere near as thick as the R9s. You know, the R9s are even thicker. So, oh boy, they must be softball bats or baseball bats.
See, interesting, yeah. See, I wouldn't get on with them. I've got very small hands, small stubby fingers. I don't, there's a certain. I don't think I'd get on very well with a sort of an R9. Sadly, a 59, a 59 thing, because I don't think I'd better get my hands around it very easily and play it. Because I don't know if Hack agrees, or whether actually there's a kind of, they fit in a nice way, they fit your hand nicely so that it actually doesn't matter so much. I don't know, but I've not played. Gibson is when I win the lottery.
Going from your Strat, Simon, to a Les Paul, it's remarkable. It's night and day. The difference is just.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bit of that, because I've got the Chapman, which is basically a Les Paul. I don't know whether it's my assumption is that it's not, the neck isn't that big. I'm comfortable. It's the biggest neck I've got, I think, the sort of thickest one, but of the four that. Oh, okay. Hack saying that the R9 necks vary as well, so you have to play them to work out which one is the best for you. Which that's the thing I've got from Hack is that no two Gibsons seem to be the same, and you have to go and say to the shop, line them up, plug them in, and I'll play them all, and then choose the one that you like. And I think that seems to be particularly in Gibson land. That seems to be particularly important because they are.
And that's exactly what Simon, what he said to me. Go, and don't buy one without playing it. Go and play. Yeah. So I took his advice there too. But with the Strat, I would say, Simon, buy a Strat without playing it, because you're pretty much going to get, a Stratty sound.
But again, though, you still got to have that thing. I mean, I've got my Japanese Strat that I've got, 32-year-old Strat, is apparently, well, nobody's kind of said this is not true, but I think it's got like a 62 neck on it, which I think again is a thinner neck, and and it is a small neck. For me, I love that guitar all along because it's such a small neck, and I get my small hands around it, and that works. Although interestingly, my two Chapmans have bigger necks than that. I think the black one that I've modded, I think that has more like an Ibanez neck. It's kind of, it's not very thick, but it's quite wide. I think that's more Ibanez-y. And I find that really comfortable to play. I find that really nice to play. But
No, you're right, because Fender are onto it, because when they made those guitars in Japan, who were they making them for? They were making them for the local market.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Which is Japanese, so the smaller hands and stuff. Yeah.
So that's why the 60s neck was pretty much the flavour on their tallies and Strats. They never went to the 54 or the 58 Strat necks, which apparently are like baseball bats.
Yeah.
So you got a good score then. That's why it felt so good when you got it, because it fitted your hand.
Fit my hand beautifully. Never been happier.
and you and I have discussed this many times too. A guitar, while it's got to look cool, for sure, it has to look cool. It's got to sound good, but it's got to feel good, Simon.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's the number one thing. Looks. But you're absolutely right. That it's got to feel right. Otherwise, you've got to feel like you could pick it up and play it. And I'm not, I feel that's really good.
Hack wants to jump in.
Oh, come on then.
Okay, Hack, can you send me your email on Messenger? and I'll send you an invite.
I've got. Oh.
Cheers, mate.
Cool, that would be cool. I'm on my laptop and awake. Well done. Of course.
Okay,
Yeah,
just keep talking, mate, and I'll
just keep talking. Yeah, I mean, like, yes, I mean, the thing about Nex is funny is that I'm not one of those people who's kind of can only play one kind of neck. All my guitars have different necks. The telly has a bit of a thicker neck, interestingly, but I find I don't know about you, I can swap between them, no problems at all. I don't have an issue with I go to the Fender, that's got a thin neck, and then I can play my telly, that's got a thicker neck, but still comfortable, And as I say, I think there probably is a point for me where it's just too big, and I can't, my poor little hands won't go around it. But for the most part, I find swapping between the 2 or 4 guitars that I've got, the 4 different necks, really quite easy to deal with. I'm not one of those people who has to spend acclimatizing and stuff. I find that interesting. I mean, psychologically, it's you pick up a guitar, you play it. You pick up a guitar, you play it with. You did. That's all right.
Okay, so just I'm going to disappear again because I have to send Hack the email. Is that okay? Cheers,
yeah,
mate.
I'll keep talking with Arvin. And so yeah, I don't know if Arvin. I don't know if you particularly you have hands for particular necks, or are you quite casual about it and can pick up any guitar and play it? I mean, as I say, I'm fine with it. I don't, providing I can get my hand around it. Same here. Yes, I agree, and it takes me, no seconds really. You pick it up, and they are interestingly all my guitars are quite different. Particularly my Chapman's, my gold topped Chapman, the Les Paul copy, has quite jumbo frets, and that took me quite a long time that took me more time to deal with because I tend to, the Fender has vintage frets, so it's not very fretty. But the Chapman has a much more kind of so not pressing so hard. You don't need to press so hard, so you don't need to press it against the fretboard. Just resting your hand slightly so that it touches the frets is enough. Took me a bit. You like thin narrow ones best, don't you? Yeah. So Ibanez's or something like that. It's not, as I say, for me, it's not that I like them better. I think it's just that I like them, that I can cope, up to a certain point, I can cope with whatever it is. As I say, I guess there may be one of those 50s baseball necks that I physically can't get my hand around for, I can't stretch, to play a C chord or something.
Here he is.
Is he coming?
Hello.
Oh, Lord.
Hey.
We are graced in the presence of the Great One.
Oh, here we go. Great one, yeah.
Good morning. How you doing?
Is there somebody else here I don't see?
What time is it in North America, in Canada?
Right now it's 1:42.
Holy cow.
Getting up at 2 a.m. What are you doing? Can't sleep.
Well, yeah, it's one of those. I think I'm. Hang on, let me turn this mic down a bit. Am I still clipping?
No, you
better.
sound good.
Sound all right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit less, depending. Of course, it depends how close you get and all of that.
All right, I'll be around here.
Turn the gain down.
Okay, what I thought.
Sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Hello. Better?
That's better. That's fine. Yeah.
That's good.
All right. So how you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad. We're just having our end of year wrap up. Just a bit of a chat. We hope to have had Carl on, but he's busy. So we've got you on for a little while.
No, you guys were talking my language. Something about Les Pauls and stuff.
Yeah. What are we talking about? Well, because Andrew's got one, you see, on your advice.
That is a very nice looking one too.
But the interesting thing is that when we're talking about it was that he played. How many did you play, Andrew? Do you only 2? Do you only play 2?
4.
4. You played 4. You said in the chat you played 6 before you.
Yeah.
As many as 6 before you got the one that kind of suited you the most.
Forgot that one. Yeah.
So it means that the handcarved necks are all different slightly.
It's that's one thing I never understood. Right? Like I could literally pick up two guitars side by side, and I'll notice the difference. You almost start to think like maybe it's just in your head, but I don't know, some automatically feel good, and then others don't. Like it's
Yeah.
I don't know, hard to put your finger on, but yeah. And then well, because if you're buying a Les Paul Burst like what Andrew has, then the other part of it is you want a nice top, right?
Sure.
It's got to have that visual too, and you're probably going to go through a bunch before you find like a nice, top on it, right? So
No, yeah, absolutely. When we were saying the aesthetics are certainly
spending
important.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're not cheap, so you want to make
Right.
sure you're going to get something you're happy with.
Yeah.
No,
and,
that's
and
right,
it
yeah.
sounds good. That and that was obviously a key point. I played it through a Fender Princeton and also through a Blues Breaker, and cranked it through a Marshall that they had there. Sounded great. The sustain was amazing.
Mhm.
Another thing that really blows me away with the Les Paul 2 guys is that the resonance you get from playing it acoustically, that maple cap makes a big difference. It's just big difference from the copies that I've had over the years. Big difference.
Look out, it's the Tonewood debate.
No, he's talking about unplugged, so he's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he's talking
Well,
about
no, I mean, I'm all for it. I think everything contributes to the tone of the guitar. So the thickness, if it's a bit thicker, a bit thing, that is going to have a contribution to it. I mean, how much is a different question, but I think having a maple top is different to not having a maple top, and will give you a different sound. Having a mahogany neck or that they're all going to contribute in some way.
Okay, that's with the guitar plugged or unplugged.
Unplugged.
Both. I think both, but
okay, you're half right then. I don't want to go down this path, but
sometimes right, sometimes wrong, always certain. They are.
Well, what I was going to say, Andrew, what year is that traditional? Is that a 2019?
Yes.
So you've got Burstbucker 1, Burstbucker 2 in that.
Yes.
Those are I had a 2016 that had all the push-pull pots that you were talking about.
Yes.
And it came with Burstbucker Pros. I actually had them remove all of that.
And go back to the tradition.
Got it. All the electronics out just to put Burstbucker 1 and 2s into my standard. That's how much better I like those pickups than the ones that came in the standard.
Wow.
Did you when you bought the one with the push? I mean, was that a conscious thing to buy a more modern guitar and see what other sounds you could have out of it, or
Or
was it just the price that kind of you thought I can do something with this?
No, it was my 50th birthday, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, I wanted to buy a standard.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I never owned a standard until I turned 50 years old because they're
That's
expensive.
understandable. That's
So I own a standard.
Well, there you go. So no, I wanted a standard, and the standard at the time had all of that stuff on it, and I didn't go traditional because the standard neck has the 60s, and that year it's also an asymmetrical neck as well. So it's a thin neck, but it's a thin neck that is sort of follows the curvature of your hand as you go up.
Yes.
So it felt better in my hand. So it had all that stuff on it, but honestly, like I didn't use any of it. I just played it like a tradition. So
yeah. So in effect, you bought it in spite of the flashy electronics in it.
And then what happened was I played, the new rollout, the 50s and the 60s Les Pauls that came out. So I played one that had a Burstbucker 1 and 2, and I'm like, oh my god, these pickups in this guitar sound incredible.
Is that what you've got, Andrew? You've got a Burstbucker 1 and Burstbucker 2.
Right. Yeah. So I wanted that guitar really bad, and I'm like, well, I can't afford to spend another. I mean, in Canada, I'm almost at $4,000.
I was going to say, yeah.
Right. I can't do that. So then I'm thinking, what's the cheap way of doing that? Well, the cheap way of doing that is just throwing pickups in the one I already own, which is what I did. And it cost me like, I think, I don't know, 5.5 or something, $100, right? Instead of going out and buying a whole new guitar. So that's what I did.
And it made all the difference.
Oh man. I think sounds great.
Well, you always like to know you only spent $150. It's made a huge difference. This is all good.
It does sound good. It does sound good, but it's funny. Well, you guys watch my channel. I talk a lot about Blackie, right?
Yeah.
Blackie has Burstbucker Pros.
Yes.
But they sound amazing. But the Burstbucker Pros in that thing, they just sounded too, I don't know. They just had a little too much grit to them. They weren't warm and defined, because I generally like really low output pickups.
So do you think the cap? It's the cap on the Les Pauls that the way that the neck is jointed into the body. How they're all handmade. That process is handmade. Must have an effect on the variations of sounds that you get with different Les Pauls. Has to. That human component. It's still crafted by hand, isn't it? Has to have an effect.
Well, I don't want to go down this road, but let's
go on.
If we can all agree that's the movement of the string, that's disturbing the magnetic field of the pickup, that is inducing a voltage that's actually creating the current that's moving your speaker. If we can all agree that, so basically, you're looking at the string motion. If anything that is changing, affecting either the strength of the magnetic field or the motion of the string, that's going to impact your tone. So, if it's the pickup, pickup height. I don't know if you've ever played with pickup height, but man, that
I've adjusted my neck pickup.
Yeah,
I dropped it. I dropped it because it was quite high. So every guitarist I've followed that plays Les Pauls has their neck pickup quite low. So I dropped mine, and I got huge amounts to sustain. Makes a difference.
Yeah, because now you're changing the how much of the magnetic field is hitting the string.
Wow.
But you know what? I don't know if you've ever tried this, and I don't know if Simon, if you've ever tried this, but did you ever try just like with a clean amp, just striking the guitar and then just moving the pickup up and down and hearing the difference?
No, I've never done that. No, that's interesting.
Because I did that with Blackie, and if you do it, I mean, one thing you got to be careful is you just you move them up and down evenly, but you'll find a sweet spot where if you go a little beyond that, it just starts to get a little too woolly, right? If you get too close, and if you get too far away, then it just starts to sound too thin. But there's a sweet spot right in between there. That makes a tremendous difference, way more than what kind of paint, what kind of glue, what colored knobs.
Tone glue.
Yeah, that makes a massive difference.
Okay, I'll give that a go. I'll do that.
Try.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. The interesting bit is finding the sweet spot, just the right height, so that the pickups are working with the strings in an optimum.
Yeah.
way.
Well, you tune it to pitch. All you're doing is you're moving the pickup up and down, right? And with the Les Paul, it's easy. You just have the two screws, right?
That's right. Yep. Easy. Yeah. Piece of cake. I'll do that probably this evening.
Yeah, play around. Now, if you're nervous about it, then record where you started, so you can always bring it back to what it was.
Yeah.
And just make sure you do it evenly, because if you don't, then you're going to pick up more of the lower strings than the higher string. You got to keep it parallel.
Yeah. Bend a bit. Yeah. So do you do this with all your Gibsons when you get them? Do you just kind of mess about with the pickup height until you think, there it is?
Well, what happened when I got Blackie? I bought Blackie used, and the guy put all the pickup covers, everything on it was black,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to put it back to original, right? Like, you know, the cream pickup rings
Yeah,
and so on.
yeah.
So when you do that, you're basically taking the whole pickup out. So
And
I
then
had
you have to
no choice
redo it,
do it, right?
right?
But then when I was like looking up stuff, what's the proper height and all this sort of thing, you know, and then everybody's got an answer. And then I thought, you know what, let me just use my ear.
Uh-huh.
And that thing sounds, it's still probably my favorite sounding Les Paul.
Wow.
Just
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
big bites. Right. I don't know, just
Yeah.
something to try if you haven't never done it before.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
never.
different to Fantasy. My Fender doesn't, you know, you. I don't think you can you raise the height of the pickups. You
Well,
can raise the height of the pole pieces.
the
But
trick
you can't do the pickups, can you, on a Strat?
I've
Because
done
they're
it,
just attached to the.
you can do it with the Strat as well. I did it with my Strat as well. But the
You
reason,
can
Okay.
on a Strat. You just adjust those screws there, and that
Exactly.
adjusts the
Oh,
height.
yeah.
there's springs on the inside of that. Now, one thing with the Strat is the reason I did it on my Strat is I wanted to have the same volume regardless of where my pickup selector was.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know,
Yes,
so
I do.
if you're
Yeah.
playing a gig and you go from one to the other, you don't want your volume to all of a sudden drop, right? You know. So I did it with the Strat as well. And also with the Strat, what I did was I actually adjusted the tilt a little bit also. So that I had
So tilt that way or that way?
no, like, so
Sorry, that's the
this is
pickup
body
going
of the
across like
guitar,
that.
I'm tilting it this way to angle it more, maybe a little higher, so picks up as much volume off the high strings as a low string.
Oh, okay. So we are doing it that way. So to
Yes.
speak. Yeah.
So I did both, and that way I got because what happened is I was doing, you don't really notice it, but I was doing some recording, and it's like it wasn't the same level, you know, when you strum the chord, you know, like, you know, and you're not getting enough of the you know, the B and the E strings, so you do a little tilt and a little adjustment, and again, use your ear, and yeah, worked out.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. The little things always make a difference.
Yeah.
No, but yes, I mean, I think it's a, you know, it's a really important thing to understand, that, isn't it? That, you know, the little things you do also make a difference, rather than just, you know, different woods and different whatever.
Might think you got some really, oh man, these pickups sound horrible, and at the end of the day, they're just maybe not adjusted right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
the interesting thing to me is, obviously, we all buy guitars from shops and whatever.
Mhm.
You know, is how much do you think that's done by? I mean, is it done by the factory or the shop that much, or do they just put them to a certain height and just send them out? And then you've got to adjust. In the, like, one of the things you ought to do when you get a guitar is to adjust the pick. I've never done it. I have to say, I've never approached this.
When it comes from the factory, it comes with factory spec. They have a certain.
So they set for a certain height and
if you
whatever.
If you get your shop to set it up, what they're going to do is they're not going to touch that. They're going to basically make sure your intonation is correct and all that sort of thing. And, you know,
That's correct.
Yeah.
And they'll do a setup and set your action and all that, whatever you ask them to do. But nobody's messing with pickup heights. So, you know.
No,
That's really interesting.
so here in New Zealand, heck, they won't even check your intonation from the merchants. You know, I've bought guitars, and you know, they're set up horribly. You know, so, and you've asked them, you know, when you've spent a bit of money, or, you know, can you check the intonation? They say, yeah, we have, but they haven't. You know, so you've got to go and do it yourself. or I'm lucky enough to know a good luthier in town that, you know, that can do all that. So, you know, I've learnt a few things from him over the years too, but, you know, I'm always open to getting opinions and advice from other people. So certainly adjusting my pickup height, I've never done that other than drop the height of my neck pickup, because Peter Green and Eric Clapton's Les Pauls have them quite low. You know,
following the masters. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, if they've got them low, there must be a reason. So,
You discovered it.
It might be an interesting experiment for you.
Yeah. I'll let you know. I'll send you
Yeah,
a
let me
message.
know.
I'll,
I'd
I'll,
love to do it.
I'll be
Yeah, I'd like
keen
to know the results of
to.
that as well, because yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe next time I get some of my guitars set up, maybe I'll get the guy to have to have a look at the height of them and things like that, because as I said, I've never touched them on my guitars, so fine to me. But
I
I don't know if they're all in the sweet spot or whether they're not all in the sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of my highlights of the year, and we mentioned it earlier when you were in the chat, was watching your channel grow and
Yeah, to 1,000 subscribers.
get 1,000 subs. Heck,
Amazing.
well done, well
Yeah,
done.
well done
Well
indeed.
done.
I
Yes.
appreciate that, guys.
Yeah.
Actually, earlier this evening, I wanted to do sort of a year-end review of all the highlights of all the stuff that's happened this year, and it was a lot of editing. I managed to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got it down about 16 minutes. But I went through from the beginning of the year, like all the different things that happened. I mean, I could have been hours long, right? But I just, what were the key points? So, the first one being the raising the money for cancer. That's how we started off the year.
Which is a cool thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff like that, and then hitting the 500, and then I got a little Hack Shack in there as well, and of course
smoking with the hack.
The Hack Shack, yeah. Of course, the NAMM was the big highlight, and going to Arizona, so I just took all of that and did it kind of chronologically, and then the gear that I got this year. Have you guys seen the latest gear?
Only in pictures. Come on, let's have a look. Yes, the pointed one.
Because I've been playing this thing like crazy.
Have you seen this, Andrew?
And while you're doing that, I want to ask you a question. Yeah. I was amazed, actually. I was amazed to see that you said, I've pulled the trigger. I've done a thing. Yeah.
I've done a thing.
Yeah.
Is that instead of the PRS?
I really thought maybe you'd pick up that EVH because you loved that.
Well, I have the
He's got one.
An Ernie Ball Music Man.
Yeah.
Which is,
but you were talking at one stage on your channel about the EVH with the two pickups.
Yes, yeah. Well, thing is, I got this for a lot less money.
Good.
Well
I want to ask you a question, Hack. So,
yeah,
how important was going to NAMM for your channel? Because I remember watching Ben on his channel, and he said him going to NAMM was the key that got him subs to break the 1,000 mark. Was that an important event for you as far as subs?
I did gain somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think I probably gained about 60 or 70 by going to NAMM.
Okay.
Right, in a short amount of time. I don't really my sub growth has just been really slow and gradual, very slow and gradual. I hit 1,000 right around my birthday, which was the end of October, and I'm still not at 1,100. So, you know what I mean? I don't think.
Have you thought of doing giveaways? Because I see a lot of channels they do. Yeah. Well, did that have an effect? Because
giveaways don't get you subs.
Well, guys, some channels reckon it does. Yeah.
And I'm not saying this against anyone that does that, whatever. But when I did my giveaway, I didn't announce it. So I didn't want people to come and watch my show because I was giving something away.
Okay.
Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So I had, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But so when I was doing the show, it's like out of the blue, I said, "Oh, I have a giveaway."
Yeah.
And then I gave away package and I sent it off, and Yeah, you know, like the thing is, like, there's you got different types of YouTubers. You have folks that are doing this for a source of income, and my
Sure.
hat's off to them because God bless them. And then you have guys like myself that it's basically a hobby.
Yep.
It's gotten a lot bigger than I thought. Like 1,000 for me is still kind of, I scratch my head. Really, you
Yep.
want to see
Yep.
me? But I don't. I don't like this. Will never support my family. You know what I'm saying? So I put as much into it as I put into my playing. It's like this is no different than me playing a bar. I can't feed my family playing bars, but I love doing it. So I
Cool.
do. This is
Have you got
basically the same thing.
Have you got any plans for your channel? Is there anything that you want to share with Simon and I and Arvin in the chat? Is there anything you're willing to share with us that
I don't really have any big surprises. The funny thing was I put out a poll. On once you hit 1,000, you have the feature of the community tab. So it's like, what do you people want to see? And overwhelmingly, they want to see more of the same.
Yeah. I was one of those guys. Yeah, don't change.
There is the if it ain't broke, don't what are you trying to don't
It's
fix
like,
it. I'll go with that.
You want to see more playing? No, we don't want to hear you play.
No, I want to hear you talking. I want to hear you talk.
They just want to see my mug. I mean, do more live streams. And then the other thing is too, somebody was saying to me the other day, because this is the other thing that really surprises the hell out of me. I'll have guests on.
Yeah.
My solo shows do usually better than guests. Yeah. And I have big channels on. Big channels. Unless it's a really super big channel like a Tone King, that should do better than me by my. But if it's a channel that's like 50,000 or less, it'll do maybe as well as I would do on my own. Or if I do a show and I'll have the community people, meaning like people that we all know, that aren't massive channels.
Well, what I want to say to you is that I've watched your channel grow, and you haven't changed. You're still yourself, and believe it or not, that's important for a guy like me. If you want some feedback on air, that's important. You're not trying to be something. I've watched a few channels, and it's interesting. You see people try to be. You can see that there's an act now. There's an act going on. People are trying to be funny that we're never funny. And it just doesn't work. It's be yourself, Hack.
Well, I don't know how to be anything else.
Well, that's good because I've watched some channels where people are trying to be, and it just doesn't work. I think it has a negative effect. I think our community is supportive, and we've always said this, haven't we? That don't drop by someone's channel and say something horrible. If someone's doing something, just move on. If you don't like it, move on. Don't say this is crap or something. But the point is, our community will always support somebody that's genuine. I think that's the key. If we see some phoniness coming through or something, it can have a negative effect.
Well, the funny part, and I get credited for this as being genius, and really it's not. It's the name of my channel.
Guitar Hack.
Absolutely, which is a brilliant name, isn't it?
And all I was thinking is, okay, I'm not that great a guitar player, but I want us to talk about it and play on screen.
You're not bad.
So
I think that almost matters the least, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
how great a guitar. I think that actually is probably the least of the things that that people, most, I'd like having guitar, as I've said, like yours, Ben's, people who play like I play. It's all very well watching, Joe Satriani, but it's like, that's not me. That's never going to be me, So people like you who play like real things, playing bands and muck about, and I feel much more cheerful with that than I do watching some flashy, fretboard burner.
I just didn't want anyone get the wrong impression that I was like, look at me, I'm great. So I'm like, guitar hack. There you go.
No, that does not come through at all. Be aware of that. I'm not an expert at all, but just watching your shows for over a year, that's not the feedback I get. I appreciate the fact that you pass on your experiences that you've had over the years of picking up gear. You always share that, and people like that. I see the comments even when you're live. When you go back and watch the chat, when I replay it, people appreciate the feedback that you get from a guy that's made some mistakes.
Yeah. Well, you'll always hear the truth from me.
It's always useful.
Yeah, good or bad. And I don't know. I'll like honestly. I'm not saying this to be modest. This is just the God's honest truth. I have absolutely no idea why people would want to watch me week in, week out. I don't get it. I don't get having the
because you're like them.
I'll be honest with you. I'm totally. I don't. Like, here's the thing too. Like, I'm in a band, as you guys know.
Yeah.
We already have 16 shows booked for next year.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Good band.
Playing New Year's Eve. I have the same reaction to the band. Like, the band and YouTube for me are almost parallel, right? I have the same reaction with the band. It's like we'll play a gig and people are like flipping out at the end. And I tell these stories like, and I just scratch my head. I'm like, really? How bad was the band the week before that we're this great? But it's true. It's like, my God, like, are you so starved for entertainment that, like, we're not bad, but there's a hell of a lot better. But
I think people love live music.
Sorry.
People don't know the difference. Most people don't play instruments and stuff like that, and don't do that. Therefore, they come and see you. You play the songs they know. That cheers anybody up, Yeah. And I notice you get people dancing and all of that.
All
people
the time.
Get up and move, and that's really cool as well. People really like it. So they're not going, well, he's not Eric Clapton, is he, or whatever. They're going. Yeah. They make a cool sound. We can get up and dance. We can be involved. I think that I spent a lot of years playing in a band like that, and when it goes right, it's great. And that, you think, I knew we weren't the greatest band, but we were a pretty tight band. We kept it together. And I think that if it doesn't matter if your band is greater than the sum of its parts, each individual player is not the greatest player in the world. But if you can make a tight, organized, nice sound, people will get up and dance, because they recognize the songs. It's fine to see, big show, flashing lights, and very loud and stuff like that. But that, you're not a spectator sport. You're an inclusive thing. So you want people to come up and dance. You want people to be involved.
And I don't know. I'm thinking because sometimes I think, what's the appeal of the band? I think the fact that we cater to most people. There's something for everybody, and we look like guys off the street, which we are.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
There's a certain kudos in you looking like somebody who they could be. Yeah. If you get you're not. It's not like, I don't know if I get to there, but I think having played in a very similar band for a lot of years, I think that's really important. But even I find that even in the duo thing that Dave and I do, which has backing tracks and all sorts of cheaty things. Mm-hmm. We play extraordinary things sometimes. And we played the last couple we played was like a charity. Basically, it was a quiz and a raffle and stuff like that. But the number of people would come up and go, you guys playing live gives it a real cool vibe and stuff. And you go, really?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like there's a slight sort of internal bewilderment, but I do understand
You know
it. You know,
exactly what I mean. It's
yeah,
that
there's a slight internal.
I don't get it. But
Really, I
okay.
don't get it. I'm not that great, but you know, but what they do, yes, they like live music, and we're different to you in that I went through a lot of that period of dance, you know, the dance band thing, you know,
Right.
and now Dave and I don't do that. We do much more playing the things we want. But you'd be surprised. People get up and dance still, and you think, really? We're not even a bloody party. We don't do that. That's not what we're doing at all. But the amount of people who want us, you know, they can come in and we don't have to play that loud because we don't have a real drummer. And people can sit down, they can have a beer and have a chat, and they clap at the end of the song. And they come up and they go, that was really great. It wasn't too loud. It didn't, you know, it didn't impinge. And you go, you know, I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. But, you know, it's fine with me. But because I can play things I want to play. But
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
the point is that, you know, that it's an inclusive thing. You're not, you know, we're not impinging on too much. You aren't, you know, you're saying, come up and dance, be part of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important, I think, you know, really attractive.
Do you get anyone hack that wants to have a chat to you about your gear when you're at the gigs? Do you get anyone that knows that you're playing a Les Paul and you're playing a Marshall amp and
not okay? Yeah, there are times when there are other guitar players. Actually, just the last one I did, and I did an after gig on that. But excuse me, I had a young kid. I mean, everybody's a kid to me now, but he was probably in his 20s, right? And he came up. We were on a little, just small stage, slightly elevated, but he's pretty much standing like directly in front of me, and he's staring at me, right? Which is kind of like I could literally, I could reach out and scratch his nose. That's how close he was. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, whatever. And he's looking at me, and he's looking at my hands, and he's looking at my pedal board, and he's looking at all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And when we went on break, you know, he's like, hey, man, what kind of pedals are you using? How'd you get that sound? How'd you get that, you know, this and that? And I'm walking through my board. And turns out he's a young kid. He does some recording and stuff. And I was, you know, sharing, you know, he was asking how I was getting certain tones. And I said, well, I have this set up like this. I do this, that, Excuse me. It turns out the guy just really, really liked the tone. And what was I playing that night? I think I was playing Blackie that night, which helped.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. And you know, and then there was another kid, you know, that was sort of couldn't really see the band well because they were sitting over here, and I was standing by the bar, and he comes over and he says, hey, who is the guy playing leads tonight? So I looked over, that was me. And then he gives me this handshake, and I said,
wow,
I put this on the show. It's like there's like 15 moves to this handshake.
Yeah. Just give me your bloody hand, man.
But no, I'll have guitar players that'll come up. Actually, it happened at the same gig. I had a couple of guitar players that were standing watching me like a hawk. And the one guy came over at the end of his solo. I played this big, long, extended solo. And he said, hey, turn up. I can't hear you. And I'm like, wow. I look at the other guy and tell him. He's the one who keeps telling me to turn down. So
yeah.
It happens once in a while. You know, but for the most part, yeah, nobody knows. And I've talked about this too. Like, nobody knows that you're playing a $500 pedal or a $20 pedal or, you know, whatever. Nobody, you know, that's great. People are dancing to bands again. Like doing that. If it could have just been the bars I was going to, though. Yeah. Yeah, but it's like, again, for me, the YouTube thing and the band thing is kind of parallel. Like, I don't get it, but I appreciate the hell out of it, though. I mean, it's great that we got gigs. It's great that the channel is growing. All those things are, you know, I mean, geez, I got to NAMM this year. I never would have thought in a million years. I mean,
I loved your I loved your videos from NAMM and on the way to NAMM and the road trip. Man, it was awesome. It was just you know, Yeah, it was hilarious. It was great fun. It was entertaining, and
Yeah, people dug
yeah.
it. Yeah. Well, I summarized it in the thing that'll be on tomorrow, but
Awesome.
I was all true, all documented. It was, but it's funny because I got an email today for my registration for WinterNAM, so
Awesome.
I could go back.
Are you going?
No, I can't. I can't afford it. If Epiphone, who is my sponsor, was willing, I know,
Oh, look at him! Oh, an Epiphone, my sponsor, Epiphone.
Well, they were.
And that's fantastic.
If they were willing to pay for my flight and hotel, then I'd call in sick for a week and I'd go.
I love it.
I can't do
my
it.
leg.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Like the rest of us. Do you think does the band success have any connection to the channel success?
Zero.
I think no. Yes, I don't see the connection myself, but
no, because I used to do stuff with the band on the channel, and a few months ago, I was told keep them separate. That's why you're not going to see any more. Remember, I used to stream shows all the time. You won't see that anymore on my channel. Right. The other band that I play with, that I don't gig with, they don't have a problem with it. But these guys, they're like, no. I'm like, okay. So that's the way they want it. That's the way it's going to be. So, but yeah.
Any reasons why? Can you share that with us?
They just thought that it reflected badly on them because because the quality of the phone, they want, people are going to see that and think it's, sounding terrible, and because I'm literally using my phone.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It doesn't sound terrible. It doesn't sound terrible. Sounds like something recorded on a phone. And how many hundreds of thousands of videos get loaded from people in audiences of groups who are playing watching gigs and then uploading them to YouTube, and getting hundreds of thousands of views. I think it's, most people understand that, you're not turning up with, a whole set of kind of microphones and recording equipment. You're recording it on your phone. And that's what what people get, but people still get off listening to that stuff. And
so I separated the two. That's what they wanted. It's what I've done. So, but the
interesting part for me is as you get, and obviously I've asked musicians this, is do you separate your professional social media from your personal social media? So do you know? The Pepper Borges bit over here when your mates and your family and it's are on,
family.
And then there's Guitar Hack stuff, which is about the channel.
Yeah,
I mean, are you at the point where one impinges on the other, or I know you've got the Guitar Hack Facebook group and all of those things.
Yeah, which it's just really grown. Like I mean, there's not a lot of people that are privy to the Guitar Hack thing. So that's why I keep it separate, because I don't know. My family doesn't even know I do it, and I mean, what's to talk about? Hey, I got this YouTube channel. It's like,
well, no, sure, but like people like me and stuff like that. I obviously, it's just, we're friends on Facebook and stuff like that, which is fine. But that and I noticed this with musicians that that. Like Ariel Posen, for instance, who plays on my guitar, right? Now he's recently, you can see he's got an official Ariel Posen, like him as an artist and as a musician,
right?
Facebook page, and he said to people, "Can you move over to this one?" So obviously he's making the decision. He's obviously had to make a decision that at some point you have to divide your professional life off from your personal life.
Yeah.
And if you want to share, videos of you goofing around on the beach or whatever, that's not what you want to have on your
exactly
on
and
your
that's the other
professional
reason.
channel.
I mean, plus, the people that are on my personal page, they're not guitar players. What do they care that
Not
I'm
necessarily
got clips and all that stuff, and hey, check out this show and all this. Like I said, a few people know, but not a lot of people know because it's not anything of interest, right?
Well,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
People in
from my
family that
experience, heck, I don't have any family or personal content on my channel here, or even on my Facebook. It's just me and guitars and maybe my dog, because I've been the recipient of people taking what I've put on social media and turned it into a negative. So yeah. So I just don't have anything on there anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a big part of it too is my job, right? I don't really want, that to get out there, and yeah.
I understand.
I don't quite. I'm not quite the same as you got. I put on larky stuff about me making turkeys and stuff and messing about. It tends to be keep it kind of jokey and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's fantastic. That's
well,
fantastic.
That
it's a
little
bit
house
silly.
where the cooking was going on at Christmas.
Well, that's that room with the two ranges in it,
Yeah.
at one end. That's like 30 feet by 20.
Yeah.
Just that room. It's got this
Wow.
bloody great. It's got that whole cooking bit. That's big kitchen, and then it's got the table in it that will seat 10 people, and then
Wow.
it's got some storage. Yeah, it's like a 30-foot long room, 30 by 20. And
Wow,
it
it looked like you
overlooks
had
that.
fantastic Christmas, man.
Oh yeah, it's 21 people in my family all turn up.
That's awesome.
Which is well, it's awesome if you all get on. I say this to people. It's like if you only, you've got to decide how long you can get on with the rest of the people in your family before you want to kill them all and bury them in the garden. That's just the way it is, And we all got family like that who drive us bonkers, And it's like, so if it's only 2 days, you better only go for a day and a half, And that's fine, by the way. That's completely cool in our world. It's like decide how long you can come. The other side of the coin is that if you're in a house with 10 bedrooms and 21 people, there's always places to escape. There's 2 sitting rooms and stuff like that. So the kids have 1 sitting room and thing. So there's always somewhere to go where you can, cool off and go out for a walk or do something. So, but that is really the most important thing is how long can you get on with, all of your family members of your family, because if you don't go for a week, if you can last 2 days, because that would be terrible for you and terrible for the rest of us.
Yeah.
I think it's really, But having said that, it is brilliant fun, and we have kind of, so what interests me is the teenagers want to come. I've got
Wow.
2 nieces who are in their 20s and stuff. Wild horses wouldn't keep them away. Oh, we're coming. Definitely coming, it's like, and they bring their partners and everything, oh yeah. I mean, one of my niece's partners said it was the best Christmas he'd ever had. Which is really nice. He's obviously not had great ones before, but but that's the first thing is that everybody comes amazingly, all the kids, and we play this idiotic card game called Racing Demon, which everyone plays. Everyone gets initiated into how to play, and when we sit around a table, you could have like a dozen of you playing. It gets very boisterous.
Yeah.
Bad language, lots of bad language as well.
It sounds very cool.
It's but what's interesting is that it bridges all the age gaps. All the kids play Racing Demon. It's just an ordinary card game.
Mm-hmm.
But but they all play it. Everyone knows how to play it. Everyone you got a dozen people, kids. My mum, who's 84. They all sit around the table. We all play it. That's what happens, and it's one of the traditions. And everybody joins in, and I'm amazed by that. You would think the kids just glued to their phones are kind of, I mean, not a bit of it. You put down their phones, they do this, and that's really the fun of it. Is sitting around all together for Christmas dinner and playing stupid games and drinking too much and staying up late. And the way that, well, and then you get that kind of. Heck, you might have had this where in that position where the kids start to transition into a bit more of the adult world, they're not going to bed early. My middle daughter Saskia's with him. She's 15, so nearly 16. So she's kind of transitioning. You can see her, she stayed up a bit later. My brother's giving her port. I need to speak to him severely. Such a troublemaker, but he's giving her a bit of port to taste, which is fun because that's what you should do when you're 50.
Right.
Just tasting little bits of the adult world.
Right.
Which is
And
really
it's
cool,
safe.
really good fun.
In a safe environment. They're not
Completely
doing it
safe environment.
in a
Yeah.
bar full of drongos.
No, completely, and all of that, and
It's
it is really good fun. And there's there's, as I say, I mean, me and my nephew take our guitars.
nice.
My nephew Keir, who's 21 in a minute. He took his, he brought his guitar. He bought a Dan Electro, brand new Dan Electro he bought, which is great fun. We listened to pickups and stuff, he bought that, and so we had jams and things. We sit up and all have a little just play. It's fantastic fun.
It sounds like a good time. When my son got to drinking age, I bought him his first beer.
Good.
And we were on vacation, and I took him to the bar, and I gave him a lesson in alcohol.
Did you?
Taught him all about No, I did.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Taught him about the hard stuff, the brandies, the scotches, all that, how to drink it responsibly, and all that sort of thing. I didn't get him drunk or anything. It's like I said, respect this because this will hurt you.
It'll hurt you. Yeah.
And he had his first shots with me. He tasted all of the, I don't know. I thought that was a better way to go than the way I learned about it, which is like, how much can you drink in one sitting? As opposed to here it is, small quantities, taste it, respect it, and Anyway.
Yeah, I have this with Saskia, who's 15. She's obviously started going to parties and things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I have to say, I have one rule for teenage drinking is only drink a drink you poured yourself. At least if you understand, and I agree that kind of she knows about spirits and about stuff, but what you want to do, if you're going to shovel down a vodka, then if you know about it, then that's one thing. If somebody's put 3 shots of vodka and you think you're drinking a can of cider, in it, then that could be a different kettle of fish completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, she's all right. She's fine. She's doing what we all do when we were 15, going out and trying out the world and stuff, which is fine.
What's funny is he's 23 now. He doesn't drink at all, anything.
No, that's funny, isn't it? My eldest daughter, who's Corenza, who's 21 and a half, she doesn't really drink much either. Most of the time she's not really going out and drinking. She went through a drinking phase in her teens. Well done. But yeah, much less interested in having loads of drinks.
I think maybe it's a generational thing because I mean, I used to drink pretty good. I still do if I want to.
Really? the cigars and the brandy, yes.
Well, I got
whiskey.
Yeah. Although I didn't have a drink today.
Oh dear.
Something's missing.
Yes, I haven't had a drink today either, but it's only 7:30 in the morning, and that would be bad.
I don't know how you get up this early. This is crazy.
I'll tell you what it is. I get up at 6 o'clock. To be honest, I'll probably have a sleep this afternoon or something. Actually got people coming for lunch, but no, because I like doing it, and it's it's good fun. Andrew and I have a good laugh, and there's lots to witter on about, so I get up and do it. I do say to people laughingly, I do this YouTube show, but knowing, trust me to pick somebody who lives as far away as possible from me, literally the other side of the world. Duh.
You realize that we have 3 continents right now going.
That's correct.
Amazing.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely. One of the most amazing things about social media, isn't it, is that 3 guys from 3 different continents who share the love of
it's really cool.
rock and roll and guitars.
Yeah.
Are talking and sharing experiences and giving advice. It's just, it blows me away.
That is amazing.
You talk to young cats today, they look at you a bit strange when you say it's a great thing, because they take it for granted. But we're all old enough to remember when we got all our information off magazines, newspaper articles, record albums, and guys in record shops.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So, Hack, if you're not giving too much away, what's your musical highlight? I mean, what listening to music? I mean, what have you bought much music this year? Have you bought some stuff to listen to?
That's a good question. I really didn't. If anything, I revisited some stuff.
Nothing
Cool,
wrong with
like
Well, I went through a few. Actually, you were talking about the Beano record. I only
Yeah.
heard it for the first time this year.
cool.
Wow.
So I went back. Well, part of it was I got a with my new phone that I got recently. I had Spotify, right? So
Awesome.
I started digging into some old stuff. So the Beano record. I don't know if you ever heard of a band called Cactus, but oh my God, are they great?
Yeah.
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 And just this really old music and just dug in. And
Easy with the really old music,
Oh.
okay? 'Cause that's first time. Careful, first time round for me.
Leslie West and
Leslie West Mountain, yeah,
Mountain,
Nantucket Sleigh Ride.
yeah, all this kind of stuff. And
Do you know what a Nantucket Sleigh Ride is?
no,
Well, Nantucket is the great whaling. That was the great whaling town, and when they went out, obviously you stand on the front of the ship and you throw a harpoon into
Right,
the
right.
they were out in a small boat rather not on a, so they throw that and it punches. Now when the whale takes off having been harpooned and obviously it pulls the boat behind you, that is a Nantucket sleigh ride.
oh, I had no idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a Nantucket. There we are. Things I know are not worth anything. Yeah, but obviously because Nantucket's a whaling town, that's why. But yeah, Nantucket sleigh ride and all of that. Yeah, mountain. Yeah, great
I
stuff.
went back to old Ozzy Osbourne, all the stuff that when I was a teenager that I loved. So a lot of that stuff, the Randy Rhoads stuff, and the only new band that I really dig, but the last album was not that great. At least I didn't like it that much. Was Ghost. That's about as current as or The Darkness. They put out a record which also wasn't very good, but
That's the way. Yeah.
What about you, Simon?
Well, I bought something. I mean, obviously, I bought. So yes, I've got Ariel Posen's record is really good. That slide guitar kind of fucking thing is really cool. And Chris Bucks as well. Buck and Evans is an album from 1975. I think I recognise the style and the tone of it as being that kind of classic 70s rock album, which, by the way, is a top thing in my books. That's not a criticism. That's really cool. I've really enjoyed that. But probably the thing I've enjoyed the most this year is probably Springsteen on Broadway. That would be I mean, that is an astonishing piece of theatre. Done doing a show that has a script, obviously, and musical punctuation throughout it that punctuate the different parts of the story and things, and to do it so brilliantly, and it is very moving. Some of it and things is just, I think that's probably my thing of the year. I've listened to it a few times. If you haven't seen it, I haven't seen it, but I have the records, but. Yeah, I think it's well worth a look and a listen because because it's as I say, it's not like other rock and roll shows. It's probably a new thing. It's not like having residency in Vegas because it's not because it's a story. He tells a story of him and punctuates it with songs from different parts of his career and stuff, and it's chronological in many ways, and he talks about his mum and he talks about his dad, and they're all sections, and then he'll play an appropriate song for it, and it's brilliantly put together. Whoever did that, hats off to them.
Yeah.
But I think I'll see a few other people doing that sort of thing as well.
What about you, Andrew?
Three musical highlights for me. The first one is 42 live songs released a couple of months ago, or re-released, remastered by Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. Phenomenal collection of songs. The remastering of Abbey Road by Giles Martin. and also the releasing of the what is it, the demos, that they had around that album, phenomenal. And heck, also, if you weren't aware of this, I got into bluegrass. I play clawhammer, banjo, and I try and play a few acoustic bluegrass songs. But I got into a young guy, an American guy called Billy Strings, who's about 27 years old, hot bluegrass guitarist, phenomenal. So those are the musical highlights for me. I don't listen to a lot of new music, so Billy Strings is the new music.
Right.
I go back and like you were saying earlier, and just revisit the stuff that I was listening to. Can I ask you one question? You said that you discovered the Beano album, this year. Can you? I'd be interested in your thoughts on that album.
I was listening to a song. Now I'm gonna say the title incorrectly, but you'll know the right title. It was The Mists of something.
What, from the Beano album?
Yeah, the Mists or Myth.
It's not ringing a bell with me.
It's not ringing a bell. It was the Blues Breakers.
I don't know which is. Yeah, All Your Love, Double Crossing, something.
Maybe it wasn't on the Beano album, but it was definitely a John Mayall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not a John Mayall fanatic, so I don't know all of his work. Yeah, I only know the first 3 albums that he did, the Beano, Hard Rain, and Crusade with the young cat that went on and
coming up. I don't
joined the Rolling Stones.
It on Spotify if I had my phone on me.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, there's not a
Mists or Myth. No.
There's not a song on the Beano album. All Your Love, Hideaway.
No. Okay, maybe it wasn't on that record.
Oh, another one. Oh,
it was maybe another John Mayall cut. It was the playing on it was unbelievable. It's one of those things like you kind of stop and like, whoa, that's really good. Yeah, I thought it was Clapton on the Beano record. Maybe not. Maybe it's another. Who else? Somebody else I played with.
Well, Clapton is on the Beano record, and then Peter Green, the second record, which is Hard Rain, and the third album.
Oh, yeah. Mists of Time.
That's it.
Mists of Time. Yeah.
Mists of Time.
So who's that?
So who played on that? Was that Peter Green?
No. Hold on. Oh, it's going to play. Look at that.
Or was it
Clapton?
Clapton?
Let's see if I can find it. Oh.
Clapton.
Looks like it's a much later one, to be honest. Mist of Time. Just trying to work it out. Blimey, Mist of Time from John Mayall's 2002 album.
Oh, it's way recent.
Yeah.
Coco Montoya.
Coco Montoya.
Well, he's a hell of a player. That was amazing. I just automatically saw Mayall. I figured it was Beano because I know that's one of the records that I put in my playlist.
I mean, how old is John Mayall's? Like in his 80s, isn't he? I mean,
yes, yeah.
He's you
know what,
he's still going.
The worst part of that song was the vocal, actually.
Yeah,
he's not a great vocalist.
Yeah,
so I'm going to let you into a little secret hack. It's okay. It's okay to disagree with John Mayall's singing capabilities. It's okay to say that it's not too flash hot.
You won't be the first. He's 86, John Mayall, 86, still going.
Yeah.
That album, the Beano album, I love it. I love it for the guitar playing, but I got to tell you, the singing, it's that high pitched singing that John Mayall does. It's difficult sometimes.
It puts you off. Yeah.
Yeah.
just so you know, Hack, John Mayall's Blueberries had Eric Clapton, followed by Peter Green, followed by Mick Taylor, obviously joined the Stones, and then he had Harvey Mandel. If you come across him as a guitar player, Walter Trout played with him for a lot of years.
Oh, I know.
Do you know the mighty Walter Trout? Yeah, he's had people through his doors, kind of in and out, going on to other things. Yeah, lots of them, lots and lots of them.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who just keeps doing it. Keeps finding talented people to play with him, and keeps going. And he's still gigging, and he's still making records.
Yeah, have you guys heard that?
Amazing. Nobody Told Me is his latest album from 2019.
No, I've not. No, I've not heard that album. I'll check it out. Hack, thank you.
Give that song. Well, I don't know about the rest of the record, but give that song a listen, because the guitar playing on that song was just insane. It's so tasty.
Cool. He can pick a good guitar player, can John?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, that's Hard Rain.
It's a Hard Rain, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, an amazing bloke, really.
You know what else I always dug, and I go through different phases. Right now I'm going through like a Sex Pistols phase. I love the Sex Pistols. But all the stuff around that time,
good little rock and roll band, the Sex Pistols.
They're great.
Yeah.
All the stuff that came around that time, like the late 70s, early 80s British stuff. Like there's UK Subs, Susie and the Banshees. I absolutely love
members. Susie and the Banshees, the Clash, the Damned,
I was never big on the Clash, but there's a lot of I know. I know. There's certain bands I don't get. I never got the Clash, but there's certain like just really that period of music was just really, really cool. All that early punk stuff, that morphed into new wave eventually. But yeah, I got a lot of that stuff on my list too.
Yeah. Oh, and going back to it, what is it, bloody 50 years later, or whatever it is, 40 years later, it's you go back and listen to the, the good stuff. But I mean, there's so much stuff in that era. When because I wasn't quite working in a record shop. When did I work in a record shop? 79 to 82, I worked in a record shop then in Bristol. And so the amount of people, everyone put out singles. If you were in a band, you the first thing was put out a single, get 1,000 pressed, and go and go around the local record shop and say, "Will you sell my single?" and stuff. And I've still got loads of them, and I've got a box of singles and stuff. But minor bands from all over the place, making very kind of creative, I'd say, creative stuff. Doing it themselves, creative. Suddenly, everyone can write their own songs, do their own thing, and all sorts of, I think very, very interesting time. Certainly on that, not very long, but and then it spreads out, and then the commercial bit takes over, and the Clash signed to CBS, and punk is dead. There we are. That's my synopsis of it in three words. Yes, Clash signed to CBS.
Well, I remember first trying to learn how to play guitar. I learned how to play the entire Nevermind the Bollocks record because it was simple. It was all moving the part chord around.
But it's tight and it sounds really good, doesn't it?
It sounds great.
Well, you notice going back to it how good it sounds.
It sounded great.
Yeah,
I mean, that record still it can stand the test of time. It sounds just as good today as it did back
because it's a Marshall and Les Paul.
That riff to Anarchy in the UK is fantastic. That's just and that song should have been number one. But they made Rod Stewart's song 50p or something like that, because it was the Queen's Jubilee and they didn't want that song to be number one.
just saw a documentary on all that.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
Save the Queen and Anarchy in the UK, by the way, are the same song. It's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Love
the
it.
same thing. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. But Hack, I'll go. What I just said just now. It's a Les Paul into a Marshall.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I heard I heard somewhere, because I've watched a lot of stuff on that record. I'm pretty sure that somewhere they said he was actually playing into a Fender on the record.
Was he playing Fender? Was he?
Oh.
Maybe for the record. Yeah, yeah, that's possible.
But he was
But
playing,
certainly live, Marshalls and
he was playing Gibsons. He played the Les
Les
Paul. The white Les Paul's what he's most known for, Steve Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
But I seen clips of him playing like a Firebird.
But Steve Jones wasn't the amateur guitarist that they made out that he was. He was a player. He was a player, Hack.
He said he'd only played like 1 year.
Oh, you reckon? You reckon?
Say that's what he said.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd kind of agree with that. I don't think he played much before.
Oh, okay.
Way before the Sex Pistols. No, that I think he was he's a bit of a teenage tearaway, to be honest. Before that, not really playing guitar. And some credit has to go to Malcolm McLaren for kind of putting them together, sort of thing. But I don't think they they particularly played. I think the person who played was Glenn Matlock, the bass player.
Bass player,
the original bass player. He was the one with all the melody ideas, and he's the one chucked out for liking Paul McCartney. It's like, kind of thing. But he was the one who brought the real musical, thing to the Sex Pistols more than
Sid couldn't play at all.
No, he could play at all. No. Taught root notes if you're lucky, and just keep going. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll just
pretty cool though. He was a cool cat.
Well, that's why they hired him, for his look.
Yeah,
and he was
pretty cool.
John's friend.
Yeah. And he looked pretty cool with that Fender P bass, strapped around him there, hung low.
Yeah.
Well, it's the old Ramones look, isn't it? Let's face it. Leather jacket and a P bass slang low. That's the Ramones.
And I mean, Johnny's lyrics,
which is fun.
What an amazing lyricist that guy was.
Oh, EMI is fantastic. I love it.
I mean,
no future. Oh man, it's just
amazing.
Fantastic.
And his singing works perfectly for it. It's like it's
not singing, yeah.
Sneery,
yeah. Arvin says that he said he practiced like crazy whilst taking speed, picked it up over a short period of time. Not sure that speed makes you learn quicker. Just saying that for the kids.
I love that interview when they're sitting there and it's on English TV and and
he started swearing.
Yeah, and the reviewer's asking him about the band, why are they so blah, and he turns around and tells him, why don't you just fuck off or something? That's fantastic. And the guy looks at him.
No, he says say something controversial or something.
Oh yeah,
they're like,
fuck off.
What was that? It's like, God.
He was egging them on.
Do you know what? Do you know who they replaced? Do you know why they were on that show? Do you know this?
I have no idea.
Who they replaced?
Queen.
Queen were going to be on it and were replaced by the Sex Pistols. It's not really the same thing, is it? Tell me it isn't the same thing. Not really. That's right, you dirty rotter. Yeah.
Yeah, you dirty little fucker or something like that.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. Yeah, it was like, it's hilarious. I mean, now by today's standards, it's like
that's nothing.
I mean, when you look back at it, you go
1978 Jeepers.
Yeah. Oh, there was a row. Oh, look at that. A lot of hot air.
Oh, yeah, Arvin, you fucking rotter.
Oh dear.
All right, guys, it's getting near 3 a.m. here.
Is it time you went to bed? Yes. Yeah. We've got.
We'll let you go.
Because Andrew's got to go and feed his family, because otherwise they're sitting in the back room starving. When's he going to come?
Well, we'll let you go, because Simon and I will just finish off the chat. But thanks for jumping on, brother.
Thanks for dropping in. It's fantastic. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
All right.
Have a great gig.
Have a great New Year.
Gig on New Year. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cool. Take care.
Brother.
Bye. Bye. Oh, that was
Awesome.
great. Well done. See,
Awesome.
see, Arvin, that could have been you.
Yeah. Next year.
That's
Next
goading.
year.
That's goading, by the way.
Yeah,
Next
I
year.
know.
Next week. We have to send Arvin a small package of things so he can come. Yeah, that was really good. Thanks.
Yeah, no.
Hack for
It's
that.
always
That's really good fun.
always
Really
good
nice.
to jump on and catch up with some guys. Look,
Yeah.
mate.
Fantastic. Yes, so you're off for the next couple of weeks,
Yeah,
or are you not?
I'll be in touch.
Okay.
I'm leaving on the 4th. So the 4th is
Is Saturday, Friday, Saturday? I can't remember.
and
Hold on, let's have a look. Somewhere in this thing, I have a calendar. There we are.
I think it's Saturday.
Saturday. It is Saturday the 4th.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
I won't be. Yeah. I won't be around, mate.
So
I won't be around.
So that's fine. That's okay. So no show on Saturday and no show on the 11th either.
No.
The 5th and the 12th. Are you back for the 19th?
Yes, sir.
Just trying to line up the old diary. No, that's fine. That's cool. That's right.
Oh,
what are you doing?
Well, I
having
might
a
be.
proper holiday.
I might be back on the 16th or 17th anyway, but I'll let you know anyway. And if we,
Yeah.
yeah.
But sort of Thursday, Friday, but yeah.
You know, that's too early for a show. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do something on the weekend.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Yeah. So so that's fine. So what are you doing? Doing something good? Your way?
Going to the beach.
Oh, see, going to the beach.
Yep.
So you'll come back with a massive suntan and
I'll be black. I'll
be chilled.
Chilled. Are we allowed to say that? I'll be brown.
Brown. Much browner.
Yeah, and I've got a few books to read to catch up on. I'm going to take my guitar. So yeah, looking forward to getting away. Mate, I just want to say I appreciate you jumping on this year. We've done a year.
We've done a year. Cool.
Holy shit.
Yeah, fantastic. Yes, January in the beach. Yes, Arvin. That's what happens when you're in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
And although it says Christmas on the pack, there's not much snow in sight because it's all beautiful sunshine and everyone goes to the beach, which is a fantastic idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's our summer down here.
Summer, you see, beautiful. Yeah, and there's no one more beautiful than New Zealand for summer.
Thank you. I just want to pass on my appreciation, Simon, for you for getting up early, and I look forward to following through on some of the thoughts that we were talking about earlier on getting some of our guests on. We have to make it very clear. I'm not interested in growing our channel. I just want to hear some other people's perspectives on the music that we're that we're talking about. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and Arvin, thanks. The ever-present Arvin Gaunt, thanks ever so much for all your support this year. It's been great fun having you in the chat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We would like you to come on if the technology arrives in your region sometime soon.
Yeah, Arvin, Gussie Wells, who's always a regular contributor. Jack Daniels,
that would be good. Jack, yeah.
Who's the other guy? Brian, also known as the movie guy. What's his name?
Oh yes, Kubrick Lover, 1972.
Kubrick Lover, yeah.
Yes,
Kubrick
that's Brian.
Lover.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
You know, he's always jumping in the chat saying g'day. So if any of these guys are interested in watching an hour and 48 minutes of this, and get to the end, if there's anyone else Simon and I have missed, we're sorry. We don't mean to miss you.
No, I think that Hack as well. But it's really nice. Just
Soda.
And it's been a Soda, of course. Yeah, it's been a fantastically fun year for me. I've really enjoyed it. I wouldn't get up if I didn't enjoy it. Sonia, yeah, that's true. She drops Superstar Tone, doesn't she? Yeah. See, so it's it's been really good fun, and I'm glad that that we've been able to get together and do lots of things and talk about lots of things, you know, and with Carl as well. You know, it's a shame Carl can do less of it now than he used to, which is,
Well, yeah.
you know,
But just one of the
Busy
great
with
things
life.
about music, isn't it? You know, music. You know, whether you listen to it or you want to play it, jeepers, I couldn't imagine my life without it.
No, me neither. No, it's sneak it in every possible place. It's been
Yeah.
But yeah, so thanks for inviting me on. Now you can't bloody get rid of him. Yes.
Look, no, I look forward to you catching up next year, mate. And you know,
fantastic.
we'll have a bit to talk about. But Kubrick Lover, we don't plan anything. we might have a topic. We might have a topic, and we generally
And then we don't talk about it. And then we don't talk about it. At some point, I'd quite like to have a review of Andrew's current gear because he's bought all this stuff and we don't even bloody we bought that Gibson. Not a word before today.
No.
Don't mention the Gibson. So one of those.
Awesome.
It's really funny. Really funny.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Take care, Arvin. Have a great new year. And anybody else who watches, have a fantastic new year. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Take care.